he said he was getting hit in the head a bit. You know, what is going on there? You guys have to.
Yeah, I mean, they rushed the A gap. It's we talked about it. I mean, the bottom line is people have been rushing the A gap all season. The league is, the game is like a living, breathing thing, in my opinion, and like everything kind of moves. The league is trying to make sure that they balance player safety and they also get the entertainment that they want. The officials are trying to do what the league wants them to do, and so they say, hey, that's a little bit too much for us, or that's not enough to warrant a flag. And so the game kind of adjusts like as you're playing it, and ultimately we talked about it inside there in the A gaps. It's kind of a moving target a little bit right now, and I think the officials are incredible. These guys, I know they get jammed up all the time for like the one call they miss, but the 1,000,000 calls they get right are unbelievable. So I think the officials in this league are the best by far, and I have nothing but a ton of respect for them. I'm always shocked at like, dang, how do you see that? I didn't see it. I guess I couldn't be an official. They couldn't be a coach maybe, so. But anyway, and then I think the league does a great job. I mean, they're trying to balance all aspects of the game. So anyway, sometimes there's some stuff that's a little gray. Ultimately, Hogan got caught off guard, and that shouldn't have happened, and that starts with me and then trickles down to him. I mean, the whole rest of the game, they did the same thing, and we protected it fine. So ultimately for us, I'd say it's a lesson we got to learn. You hate learning things the hard way, and that's really my job to prevent that from happening. And so anyway, we got to get ready for this week and get it fixed. I think we kind of fixed it in the game, so I feel good about it going forward. But yeah, it shouldn't have happened. I was disappointed.
Jack Fox, Pro Bowl. How proud are you of him?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, obviously the guy was a Pro Bowl player before I got here in his first year, but it's difficult to do for these guys. It's an award that's obviously a great accomplishment for him, but it's also an award that's a great accomplishment for the group of players that played around him too, because I know without Dorsey out there running down the field and covering those things, then he's definitely not getting that, and he knows that too. So it's a product of a lot of people. The snapper giving him a great snap so that he can concentrate on the punt, not the catch, the snap. So awesome for him. At the end of the day, for us, man, it's Minnesota, and we're trying to get ready for the next game. And you guys asked me, I guess it was a year ago, about Germ. I mean, I'm super happy for the individual, but I also know that with those awards, a lot of times the right guys don't get them too, so it's like with a grain of salt. But his is definitely deserved and earned. I thought Germ's was also. And so really happy for him, for sure.
There's some big returns in the 49ers game. Just wondering kind of what you diagnosed when you watched back the film.
Yeah, kickoff returns, I'm assuming you're talking about. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of punt returns. Man, it's crazy. Anyway, yeah, kickoff returns. No, it's good, man. First thing I'm going to tell you is, man, I respect the heck out of Deebo Samuel. I know I said that before the game, but God, man, for a guy like that, of his stature and the recognition and what he's accomplished in his career at this point, to go back there, it obviously starts with him saying, I want to do it. And you can tell by the way he plays the play, he's a violent downhill runner. I would say he's probably worth 8 yards more than the next best guy's getting, or most of those guys are getting, just because of run after contact. So anyway, great player, man. I love watching him. I love competing against him. It's fun. He competes. He makes you better. So it was good. I thought our guys covered well. We got the penalty that helps us out. At the end of the day, I think their drive start was inside the 30 on those, and ours was outside the 30, so we kind of won that battle. But he made it tough, and that first one he brought out darn near the 40-yard line on us. It was going to be tough. I mean, as we talked about, there's colder weather. As the ball gets colder, there's a little wind. It hangs that ball up. Those guys are catching it downhill, short of the end zone, coming right back at you. And you kind of have to pick your poison on how you're going to cover some of those kicks. You're either going to be very sound, and you might give up a little, but not a lot, or you're going to cut it loose and go for it, and you might gain a little bit more. So that risk reward, a little more risk, a little higher reward. We probably went a little bit more conservative, just making sure we were getting them down on the ground. And against a guy like that, he helps you kind of decide how you want to play. But anyway, yeah, it was good. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Another thing on Fox, he's got like one of the highest nets in the league, one of the fewest punts. Like, what are the challenges for him? I don't know, staying in rhythm. Is there, is there something about not kicking as much as some of these other guys that makes it more difficult? Some people may look at it as
I would say it's probably a better question for him. I wonder the same thing too at times. It's like, man, you haven't gotten a lot of kicks here or punts or any game, and then all of a sudden it comes up, inevitably late in the game maybe, and it's, the game's on the line and they're crucial situations. But I know this, every time we've called his number, he's ready to play. And I really say, like, this time of year is Fox time of year, man. This guy's a clutch player who plays big in big games. And I feel like we're going to need them this week. These guys do a good job on defense, obviously. And so we're counting on every phase of this game being really important, including that one.
Special teams kickoff ramification question, but they tried to make that play relevant again to maybe a mixed bag, but the increased touchback rate, it seems like the number of punts are kind of down this year. There's 3 games you guys haven't punted at all yet. No punts on either side of this game. Like, is there this weird adverse effect to special teams on a whole because punting is lesser?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we're probably a little bit of an abnormality here and the product of a really good offense. I mean, I think our offense is probably, I don't know if it's historic in the numbers, but obviously very good. And then you combine that with a little bit of our style of play. We go for it a lot on 4th down. And all that. So when you add those two things up, we probably see a little bit different version of the NFL than a lot of teams are seeing. So I don't know the league numbers off the top of my head on number of punts and all that. I know that they've been steadily decreasing, but slowly through the years. And I think there's a lot of teams that punt a lot more than us. So I don't think it's going anywhere.
Conventional wisdom is long field goals might come out a little bit lower. In the case of Jake, we talked last week about he takes the same swing at it every time. Does that kind of take that off the table for him?
Yeah, so the one thing he's got going for him on the trajectory is he's got such a big leg that he can still afford to hit a higher kick, and it's still got plenty of distance on it, So for him to have to change, you're talking about going back to long 60s, I would say, before I think he feels like he needs to do anything different on his kick, which that's an advantage to me because now on those longer field goals, you're hitting the same ball as you would on a shorter field goal. You should be more consistent at that.
Does get a little bit lower.
I think in general, yeah, definitely. And that all starts somewhere for everybody. And when you don't have as big of a leg, that starts earlier than it does for a guy like Bates with that big leg.
Being captured on the broadcast doing his stretching?
Yeah, no, I'll give you the funniest story. So I get off or we finish the game, whatever, get changed and hit the bus. And I pick up my phone and my wife's like, "Is Bates okay?" And I'm like, geez. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I thought he was fine, but what happened? Something must have happened. So I called her. I'm like, hey, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, they said on the TV that, he was hurt or his hip or something. And I was like, well, I've never heard anything about it, so I don't know. And then she's like, yeah, there's this photo. It's like going viral. And so she actually text messaged it to me. And that was the first I saw of it. But no, and I asked him again when we came in here the other day. And yesterday when I saw him for the first time after the game, and I said, hey, tell me, are you okay? Or is there anything going on? Or what? I mean, you could tell he was so frustrated. He's getting upset at me. I'm like, hey, man, don't get mad at me. I'm just asking. Like, I just need to know if you're okay or not. He's like, I'm fine. So I think he's ready to move past that.